Hi, everyone. We have a special episode today. I'm fortunate enough to be here with Crypto Lark. Make sure you subscribe to his channel for all sorts of great content. He's coming to us live as we record this from New Zealand, but don't let his American accent fool you. He's originally from Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk about all sorts of things happening in the cryptocurrency ecosystem in general, because I think we both share a passion for the ways in which cryptocurrencies enable the world to become a better place than it already is. And we have a list of those things that we're going to go over. And part of the video will be here on the Bitcoin.com YouTube channel, and part of it will wind up being on the Crypto Lark YouTube channel. So we'll put all the links down below so you can see both across both channels there. So where should we begin?
Well, let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about, 10 ways, and look, there's a lot of ways that blockchain and cryptocurrency are going to break a lot of the legacy industries or totally disrupt their business models in a way where they are
Maybe
forced to
improve is
adapt.
better than break. Right?
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
they're going to improve and enhance all these things that people need to get done rather than break. It's going to make our lives better, not worse.
That's right. That's right. Better, not worse. But I can think of some things that perhaps do need to be broken. Things like corruption, for example. We don't need to make corruption better. Let's just get rid of it altogether to the extent that humans can, right? But let's jump into the first one here. And I think remittances. This is something that gets talked about a lot, banking the unbanked and all that fun stuff. But it's not about getting them bank accounts, of course. It's about providing financial services for people. And so I think the remittances market is a very, very important place for really empowering people. I mean, if you look at a Filipino worker working in Japan, sending their money back home to the Philippines, they go down to Western Union, they're losing dollars, right? And that has
Or
real world
yen
impact.
or
That's
pesos.
right. That's right. That's right. And so sending that with cryptocurrency can drastically lower the fees. And that's putting real money back into the pockets of the people who need it the most.
And coins.ph is a fantastic example of enabling exactly that. Anybody that doesn't know this website, it's a website for doing remittances to the Philippines using cryptocurrencies. And they were, early to the space. And last I heard, they even have a service where you can send them the cryptocurrency and then they'll dispatch a little guy on a moped to deliver physical cash to your location, which is
Wow.
pretty amazing. And maybe a little bit dangerous for the moped driver guy, but I think, and I also think you can go to any ATM machine in the Philippines and put in your secret PIN code and withdraw cash that came from the cryptocurrency that was sent to coins.ph. And I think they have, hundreds of thousands, if not a million plus users at this point. And it's a fantastic service using cryptocurrency to actually make people's lives better by using it as money. And a fantastic example of that. And I guess it's so nice too. You can kind of think of cryptocurrencies as like money for the entire world. You plug into one cryptocurrency, it's like you've plugged into the entire world because anyone anywhere can access it, and it's fantastic. Whereas if you plug into the New Zealand banking system, well, congratulations, you can do business with the other people in New Zealand, but it doesn't help too terribly much with people outside of New Zealand. Whereas once you're on board with a cryptocurrency, boom, the entire world is your market.
That's right. You break down the walls to the walled gardens of countries, essentially.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to breaking down more and more of these walls that have been erected, separating different people on different parts of the planet from being able to interact with each other financially.
Nice. And so what will be your what's number two then on our list?
So I'm excited to see capital controls be torn down. You have all these countries with capital controls in place. It's just retarding the entire world's rate of economic growth. So people say, oh, they're evading capital controls with cryptocurrencies. Good. The capital needs to go to the places where it's used the most efficiently to produce the most goods for the most number of people, which raises everybody's standard of living across the world. So the more capital controls that can be evaded by cryptocurrencies, the wealthier the entire world is going to become. So that's a great thing that I'm really, really excited about. So.
And it's an amazing use case because for anyone who hasn't lived in a country where there's capital controls, and I'm, thankful that we don't have such a system going on here, but that's the real life of a lot of people in a lot of countries. And my next point actually kind of goes into this too, and that's evading sanctions. So this is, capital controls happen more at a person-to-person level, where sanctions are basically capital controls on countries when it comes down
Sanctions
to
are
it.
kind of like capital control, or I'm sorry, capital controls are kind of like sanctioning yourself,
Yeah,
if you think about it, right? So it's like
that's
reverse
right.
sanctions. So
That's right. And so I see what's going on right now in the global system. And unfortunately, we haven't had any countries making any real moves to it. We've seen blockchain being used by like Iran and Venezuela and Russia, which are some of the biggest targets of sanctions globally in terms of which countries are sanctioned the most. But we haven't seen them going for like Bitcoin, for example. We've seen them going with, oh, we're going to make our own kind of private blockchain. We throw some oil on there. And so I'm not really excited about those, and I don't think a lot of people are, but all of those cryptocurrencies, the Petro was immediately sanctioned, the Iranian-backed gold cryptocurrency was immediately sanctioned, and the new Russian oil-backed cryptocurrency, which is being proposed at the moment, will likely be sanctioned the second that it becomes live. So, but it doesn't matter because it can't actually be stopped. It's just stopping Germany, for example, from doing business in that crypto asset.
At the end of the day, the whole point of cryptocurrencies is that they allow permissionless everything, right? So like, good luck with your sanctions, bro, is kind of what I want to say to the politicians. At the end of the day, why do we need one group of people telling other people who they can and can't trade with? Like, we're all human beings. If I want to buy and sell something with someone in New Zealand, I should be able to do that without needing permission from somebody else. If I want to buy and sell something with someone in Iran, I should be able to do that without needing permission from someone else. And I shouldn't need permission from, Donald Trump or whoever the premier of Iran is either. Like, I shouldn't need permission from anybody other than the person I'm doing business with. That's and say, right. Hey, do you want to buy or sell this? And they'll say, yeah. That's it. Like, it doesn't concern anybody else. And that's what I love about cryptocurrencies. And I'm pretty sure, I can't read it myself, but I think we've already translated the entire Bitcoin.com wallet into like Farsi and Arabic as well. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm almost positive we have, because, cryptocurrency is for everyone across the world, regardless of what language they speak or where they're born.
That's right. That's the amazing thing, is it's permissionless. You don't need permission, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are, what background you are, what religion you are, what sexual preference you have. None of that stuff matters to cryptocurrency. So that's one of the most important things to underline here.
Yeah. Another thing I'm really excited about here is like, the reason I got so excited about Bitcoin to begin with is because my background in economics, right? And seeing all the ways in which governments interfering in the economy retard the world's rate of economic growth. And a lot of people like to bash on ICOs and say that these are horrible. And like, some of them certainly were scams, and some scammers scam people with it. But like, that's true of like every business everywhere in the world. Like, there's some bad people doing bad things everywhere all the time, but there's lots and lots of good people doing good things. And if you think about it, ICOs have now enabled any investor anywhere in the world to be able to invest in any entrepreneur anywhere in the world. So capital flows that previously weren't possible, and businesses that previously wouldn't have been able to raise any capital now have been able to. So who knows what amazing new inventions and businesses that can improve the lives of all of humankind are going to come out of those things. So that, like, literally, it's making capital markets more efficient, and it's going to increase the standard of living of all of humankind. So I'm really, really excited about this worldwide capital market for investing in new startups that's formed because of cryptocurrencies. And those things weren't possible before the invention of cryptocurrencies. So for me, that's super, super exciting as well.
It's amazing. It's just going to unleash all of this capital into the world. It already has. The one funny thing about the ICO boom, though, which is my next thing, was the lack of transparency. Because the funny thing is that blockchain is going to help us be more transparent with transactions, and we can put digital IDs and all these different things on the blockchain. But a large part of the ICO boom was done in a very non-transparent way, with no enforcement mechanisms in place for reaching milestones or any of these things. So I think as we see this move on, the ICOs themselves will become much better. Instead of just, hey, we have a white paper and a dream, it's going to be, hey, we've got, the Ethereum that you've donated to this token sale locked up based on reaching milestones. If we don't reach X milestone within 6 months, we refund investors or something like that. And that's going to be the future of ICOs.
Yeah, and we're already seeing that. So for example, actually just yesterday, I announced that I'm an advisor for, I don't think ICO is really totally accurate in regards to this, a company called Liven, based out of Australia. So right next door to you there. And they're an existing company that's already raised more than 10 million Australian dollars in traditional venture capital. And now they're also having a token sale. And they already have more than 400,000 registered users on their platform.
Wow. And
what they do is they kind of give like loyalty reward points for restaurants. When you go to a restaurant, you get cash back in the form of loyalty rewards. But the loyalty rewards are usable at any of the restaurants that are on their platform. They already have more than 20,000 venues signed up for their platform. 1,000 of them are already active, and they're integrating cryptocurrency into all of this. Like, that's a fantastic thing, and it's an example of an established business that they've been around for years already with an established customer base, and now they're having a token sale as well. And I think that'll be a good thing. That'll help them be able to expand their platform and drive more sales to these restaurants and have more and more people being able to benefit from the technology they're going to build with it. And that's a lot better than these people that, maybe in the early wild west days of ICOs, they, took some money and ran. This group clearly isn't what they're up to, and we're seeing lots and lots more. And we're seeing the market come up with ways to vet these different businesses as well. So I think it was ICObenchmark.com or something like that, where like it's an independent party and they do rankings of all these ICOs and how trustworthy they seem and what they think of it. And so it's kind of like Consumer Reports, but for ICOs, and I think that's great as well. The market, anytime there's a need that people have, the market finds a way to give it to them, and this is another example of that.
That's right, and we're actually seeing there's a lot of growing pains involved, and people expect everything to work immediately, but the reality is we can look at any parallel in history of new technology rolling out. We can look at cars, for example. Well, when cars first came out, there wasn't a lot of regulation around, wearing seatbelts or speed limits and different things like this. Didn't happen initially. They needed to catch up to that. And so it's not to say we should be regulating ICOs, so to speak, but they need to be regulating themselves. And I think as consumers of ICO tokens, we need to demand more from those ICOs themselves to say, you know what, we're not going to give you that money unless we see this, and this in place. And that's kind of hard from a crowd perspective, because you might say that, and then the next guy will say, I don't care, take my money. But
that's a nice example of how, different strokes for different folks, right? Some people have different risk tolerance levels for these different things. So whereas usually government solutions are just one size fits all, and everybody has to be within the narrow confines of what are dictated by the politicians. Whereas in the market, some people think, yeah, this ICO looks risky, but I'll roll the dice. And other people say, oh, that's too risky for me. I'll keep my money. And so I think it's good. The more choices people have, the better.
That's right. It's about giving people as much choice as possible, not telling them what they can and can't do, because that kind of goes against the whole ethos of cryptocurrency anyway. Just saying, well, you can do this, but you can't do that, and you can do that with this time with that person, and right back. You're
missing the whole point of crypto.
That's right. That's right. But we have seen a professionalization of the ICOs recently, whether it be more professional companies like the one you're talking about, or just, companies really trying to provide more than just a white paper, better advisors, better investors, better products, better business models overall. So I think that's one thing that has come out of the bear market, is that there's more ICOs that are more professional.
Acting like grown-ups.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree.
Now let's on to our next one. I'll bring up the next one here. It is land registry. This is something that I find super fascinating in terms of having this immutable record of who owns what property, because there's a shockingly large number of people in the world. I think it's like 1 in 3 people in the world or something like that can't prove that they own their property. And then of the other 2/3, there's a very large percentage of people that live in a system where you might be able to prove it somehow, but the documents could easily be tampered with, or all these different things come into play. And we've seen that play out a lot in the developing world, particularly, but also in developed countries as well. We can't absolve them of any of this happening too, but basically your land will be stolen from you by a big corporate that might want to plant, palm oil trees on your property, and you have nothing to do.
Like that's never happened before, right?
That's right, and it just keeps happening. It happens every day. People, indigenous communities, for example, are pushed out of their land because somebody wants to make some money, but they can't prove that they own it, and that's a real problem.
Yeah, and don't think that it's only in the developing world. Like even in the U.S., anybody that's ever bought or sold any property, if you look at the final closing statement, you'll see a thing on there that says title insurance, right? They're literally like every single purchase, you're buying title insurance because there might be a problem with the title. Like if it wasn't a common thing for there to be a problem with titles, people wouldn't be busy buying this title insurance all the time. And I think about it, like that's a huge drain of resources that could be used for other things if we can devise a better system to keep track of who owns what piece of property.
That's right. And the system's here. It's just a question of using it. And there has been some advancements made. I know there's a company called Proppy, and they've been working really hard on land registry and actually getting some different areas. I think in Vermont now they're doing land registry on the blockchain, and another state in the U.S. as well. So it's slow, but it's happening.
Slow is better than not at all.
That's right. What's your next one?
I think one that I'm really, really excited about, and some people seem interested in, but I don't think people realize or appreciate just how big of a deal prediction markets are, like uncensorable, unstoppable prediction markets. not only do they allow you to like predict the future and act as like a window into the future, but they also act as a tool in which you can figure out what actions you need to take today in order to achieve your goals that you have for tomorrow. So like you can use prediction markets to guide your actions today to make a better world that you want for tomorrow. And like, I don't think people realize just how big a deal this is for, advancing all of humankind. And now with cryptocurrencies and blockchains, we have the ability to build uncensorable, unstoppable prediction markets. And in fact, that's one of the things we're working on over at Bitcoin.com, at oracle.bitcoin.com. We're going to provide an Oracle feed where anybody can, have their smart contracts execute based on real world events, and that'll be tied right into prediction markets at some point as well.
Very cool. Prediction markets are one of those things I haven't looked into nearly as much as I probably should look into them. I've always kind of thought it's about, speculating on who's going to win a sports game or who's going to win an election or something like that. But it seems like it's much more than that.
Right. So like, yeah, usually people think, oh, we can bet on who's going to win the Super Bowl. And like, that's the least interesting aspect of a prediction market. So like, here's an example like of things. So like, everybody in the US is busy arguing like, will single payer, nationalized healthcare, will that be good or bad for people, right? And like the conservatives say, oh, it's socialism, it's going to be horrible for everybody. And like the liberals say, oh, this is going to be great. Look at like Europe. And so like, well, why don't we set up a prediction market where we can have like, different options where like the, single payer healthcare is passed and it's not passed. And then what we think the lifespan of people will be under a situation which it passes and it doesn't pass, right? And so with real people putting real money on the line, you can get an idea as to like, what do we think is actually going to be the outcome? Are people going to live longer, or are they going to live, not as long? And so you can figure out because if you have real money on the line, you're not just going to put your political opinion, it's real money on the line. So you're only going to have people that have the most insight and knowledge about this sort of thing, putting their money on the line. So you can figure out, is this a good idea or not? So you can figure out if we want people to live longer in the future, should we institute a single payer healthcare system in the United States or not? You can figure it out and use this as a tool for what sort of political policies we should have today to achieve our desired goals for tomorrow. And right now, all you just have is a bunch of people arguing on the internet, and you're not even sure if the other people are, Russian bots or not. Whereas with prediction markets, you can have real money with real people figuring out what the right things are to do to achieve the goals we have for tomorrow.
Very cool. That's really interesting, actually. I need to look into it a little bit more for sure.
Yeah, go and Google a guy called Robin Hanson in Future Art. He is lots of interesting essays and thoughts from that guy.
I guess it's about crowd wisdom and trying to, weave our way through where we think things might go and actually being deliberate about it. That kind of brings me to my last one as well, which is voting. Now, the idea of voting, I think most voting systems are totally screwed up and need to be totally thrown out and reworked from the bottom up. But the idea of voting on the blockchain, I've heard a lot of people say, well, this basically can't work, and this is, pie in the sky and all, the normal story around this kind of stuff. But
that's what they said about Bitcoin when it first came out of the market.
Exactly, right? I've actually been thinking we could do so much better than the way we currently govern ourselves. We, elect somebody who goes and immediately sells us out to the highest bidder, and that's a broken system. That's a system of the past. But ironically, I think that blockchain could help us bring an interesting idea from the past to current reality, which is that kind of Athenian-style democracy where everyone actually votes on things. And you could do this via the blockchain where we might, this is just a crazy idea. I mean, more people are just saying, well, let's just do regular voting and the systems that we have, and we'll just put the record on the blockchain so everybody can do it, and we don't have to do recounts and all that stuff. It's more transparent. Well, that's great too. But I think we could actually totally revolutionize the system. Imagine if everybody was to vote on the budget, for example. Regular citizens were to vote on the budget. Do you think that everybody would say, hey, you know what, I think we should give like 60% of our discretionary spending to the military? Probably not. People would probably say, well, I'd like more money for my local school, or I'd like more money for whatever else it might be, right? So that's just one example of how we could bring the power back to the people to actually govern themselves. Well, I think we need a big paradigm shift for that kind of responsibility to happen, but it's an interesting concept nevertheless.
Yeah, so if I can add maybe a different way of looking at that a little bit, I think we kind of already have that system in which everybody gets to vote on everything. And that system is the market. And so like people decide with their money, do they want to vote for Nike or Reebok or Adidas? And you can buy whichever one you want, or if you can, Coke or Pepsi or Ford or Chevy. Mm-hmm. And so anybody everywhere in the market, they're allocating their resources and their time towards the things that they like. and they're not allocating their resources towards the ones that they don't. And it's only in government where they say everybody has to participate in this thing. They're not allowed to have another option. And whereas in the market, everybody gets to vote with their dollars as to what they like and what they don't. And if you like something, you spend your money on it. And if you don't, you ignore it. And I'd like to see more of that sort of thing happening and less of the top-down, one-size-fits-all government control, where then everybody argues with everybody else to like, let's all elect the one politician to boss us all around. And hopefully my guy gets to boss us all around instead of your guy bossing us all around. And then it just leads to this incredible conflict we see all the time. Whereas when you never see people say, oh my God, you bought Nikes with your dollars. I can't believe you didn't buy Reeboks. Like, nobody cares. But you see people all the time say, oh my God, you voted for Trump. I wanted Hillary. Like, and people do get mad over that. Whereas
they freak out. Because, it's crazy.
Yeah, nobody gets mad because one person bought a Toyota instead of buying, a Ford. Like, it doesn't happen. So I'm really a big fan of people voting in the marketplace, because it leads to, it's cooperation and competition at the same time. So I used the word recently, coopetition. And in the market, you literally have this, millions and millions of people around the world cooperating, if that's not a word, but cooperating and competing. They're competing to cooperate better with each other. And in government, you don't have it. You just have people competing to get their boss in power to be able to boss everybody around and make sure the other guy's preferred boss doesn't get in power to boss everybody around. And that's what causes all this conflict and fighting all over the world. Whereas in the actual market of goods and services, if you buy a Nike and I buy a Reebok, we're both happy for each other because we both get the shoes that we like. Whereas in government, we're only going to get Trump or we're only going to get Hillary, and you can be guaranteed a bunch of people are going to be pissed off because of it.
Either way.
So,
right. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Whatever the problem was that we were experiencing, government was not the answer, but it's the answer we came up with. And it's the system that, much like many other things, it needs to evolve. It needs to get better, the way that we govern our society. And I don't think we actually need all the politicians and the talking heads there lying to us and selling us out to, their corporate overlords and stuff. Just doesn't seem like the way of the future to me.
Yeah, if I can do one more small political rant too, like, it just seems so crazy. They want everybody to vote on the government and the leaders and this and that, yet the government's busy keeping secret what they're doing with all the money, right? So you have the NSA was busy spying on everybody with money extracted from those people, right? So you have to pay for the NSA, and then the NSA does all sorts of secret stuff with your money. How can you be an informed voter if you don't even know what the government's doing with your money? And they have these like giant secret budgets. Like, to me, it just looks like a criminal mafia extorting money from everybody and saying that they're going to do what they want with your money. And if you don't pay them the money, they're going to use that money that you've already paid them to toss you in jail. And like, that doesn't seem like what a civilized society should be advocating for. And I guess that's why I love cryptocurrency so much.
That's right. Nothing like paying for the tools of your own oppression.
Which is, people laugh when they say it because they laugh because it's true. And it's so crazy when you say it so clear. Like, people are literally being forced to pay for the tools of their own oppression, yet everybody's busy arguing that they want to pay for a different oppressor than the current oppressor. But like, how about we have no oppressors and we just let people do what they want as long as it's peaceful?
That guy's gonna oppress me better than the other guy.
That's what they are. That's what political arguing is about.
Oh man, that's crazy. So I think I've got through my 5 ideas. Did you have one more idea, Roger? I think we had a 5th one.
Yeah, I have kind of a long list, and they all kind of interweave with each other. But, right now we have, we talk about government controlling everything. You have, the government regulated economy is a huge part of the economy. But once we build these tools that allow anyone anywhere to interact with anyone else permissionlessly, maybe the non-government regulated economy will be able to surpass the government controlled economy. And I think that would be a really, really interesting thing to see have happen. And, I'll have to put some more thought into that, but I'm really excited to see that sort of thing happen, and I think that would be a good thing for the world. So,
capital without barriers is powerful. It's powerful because we've all been living in these walled gardens for so long, being told who we can and can't, free speech our money with, essentially. That the alternative is going to unleash immense amounts of prosperity, actually, all around the globe, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see that, of course, with all these, worldwide businesses that, and even at Bitcoin.com, we put a lot of thought into it at the beginning. Like, should we even set up a traditional corporate entity? Like, we don't have or use bank accounts like any normal businesses. Like, everybody here is paid in Bitcoin Cash, and we do our very, very best to pay every single bill we possibly can in Bitcoin Cash. And like that's a very, very different paradigm than the Fords and Microsofts and Apple computer businesses that have existed in the past. And we'll see what comes of that in the future. But it's a really fun road to be going down.
It's an exciting space to be involved in overall. Everything that's going on, people ask, well, it's a bear market, Lark. Why do you keep coming back and making videos and all this stuff? Like, come on,
What
man.
bear
Like this.
market?
Well, yeah, A, what bear market? And B, like seriously, like there's a non-stop just train of exciting things happening, new projects, new technological implementations, new privacy protocols, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So never a dull day in crypto at all.
And if you think we're in a bear market, your time horizon is way, way, way too short. Like cryptocurrencies are up, thousands of percent over the last couple of years. They're only down if you look at, something around the last year or so. So like have a slightly longer time horizon. You'll see that cryptocurrencies are definitely in a bull market. So.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Very well said, Roger.
All right, I guess that's a good place to wrap up this video. But the second half of the installment will be over there on the Crypto Larks channel.
Come and check it out, guys.